This video is about writing a cover letter for a faculty position or something comparable like a group leader position. Now, I've produced another video about writing cover letters in general for positions like for a PhD student or for a postdoc. And if that's what you're interested in, please see that video. There are quite a few things that are different from the cover letter to a PhD student position or for a postdoc application. This is why this is a separate video. Well, here are the points that are important to consider. The first point is that cover letter for a faculty position is typically quite a bit longer than the cover letter for a postdoc or for a PhD student position. That's because you need to pack more information in there, and there's different levels of expectations for that letter. The letter should be about, I think, like say 2 to 3 pages is a good rule of thumb for that letter. If you can say it in less space, fine, but I think it'll be difficult. Don't make it very long. Don't make it 5-10 pages. That would be completely over the top, and it would, not go over well with the search committee members because they have to often screen hundreds of these applications and look at these cover letters. So I think make sure that it's sort of the character of an executive summary, and an executive summary should be maybe about these 2 to 3 pages length. So of course, always start with who you are, what your background is, what your current position is, and why you are applying for this particular job and how specifically you fit this job description. Now, for that part, how you fit the job description, is super important to read the ad in great detail. Pay attention to everything that's in there, like what teaching expectations are there, what research expectations are there, what are the suggested fields of study that they may have mentioned, and all that. Make sure you hit as many of the points as possible. Of course, don't make stuff up that you can't cover, but I think hit as many of the points as possible in that letter. And so that also shows that you have taken that position description seriously, and you need to do research. This is work. The cover letter is the part that you will customize. The rest of your application can be pretty standard for all kinds of positions, with maybe few exceptions, but the cover letter, this is the bit that is very highly customized, and it starts right there in this part of the cover letter already. Well, next you showcase what you consider your most relevant, your most central, and your most important contributions, typically to research, maybe also depending on the importance of the teaching load there for teaching as well. So it could be covering some figures like the grant dollars that you have brought in, or euros. What kinds of grants have you won, and what are your most important papers, maybe some short citations to them and why they're important, and what important contributions you have made to the particular subfield of science that you're applying for. So it's just a short section of that letter that is the self-advertisement of your achievements and why you would be an interesting candidate to consider. Now, what's just as important as reporting on what you have already achieved is what can be expected of you once you are there in this position. Now, these positions typically come with expectations for people to fit into different research focal areas or centers or departments or other groups within that university. And usually those are written in the ad already. And if there aren't, then of course you need to do the research, the background work to go to the website and figure out what's really going on in this department currently. And then how can you specifically contribute to these focal areas? Because this is going to massively increase your chances to be considered if you can enhance already existing strengths in the department by bringing in your particular skill set or your particular perspective on the science. And also don't forget the teaching. Depending on the importance of teaching for that position, you should, for example, check out what are the degrees that this department or unit or college, whatever it is, offers, and how could you fit into that. So don't just say, I can teach classes in soil ecology or whatever. You should be able to say already in that letter, you have a degree emphasis in, let's say, biodiversity and ecosystems or ecology, and I could offer the following courses that fit that. So I think go the extra mile in the research also about the teaching part. And even if in the ad it doesn't mention what particular emphases are in this department, go to the departmental webpage or the college webpage, whatever the unit is, and find out what they are trying to build up there, and definitely write that in there by name. Speaking of names, I think it is maybe somewhat a matter of style, but I always list the names of the faculty that I could very, very easily see myself interacting with. Just a keyword maybe on why and how I could interact with them, like Professor XY on mycorrhizae or Professor Z on soil aggregates or something. And so basically just the keyword and the name, and that will also show that you have done your background research on that department and have thought a little bit at least about how you could fit in and how you could interact with people in this group. I think it's very important. Of course, you do that also in your job interview talk. There's another video on how to give the job interview talk. And also, if you don't know about a job interview talk, definitely watch that video, because the job interview talk is going to be completely unlike a research seminar. It's different, even though superficially it sounds like the same, but it's not. And you can already put those names also in the cover letter of the people that you would collaborate with. So this, as you can see, it takes actually quite a bit of work. But I think this is work that it's, and the time that it takes to do that's a really good investment, because, I mean, you're applying because you want to be at least getting to the interview stage. And I think a good cover letter does the trick. I think, you can maybe have the same qualifications, but if you don't present it well, and if you don't point out to people why you are such a good fit, I wouldn't leave it to their imagination to figure it out on their own, because you're going to be, one of many, many candidates. And so really go the extra mile on that cover letter. Do your background research, sell yourself in the best possible way in that cover letter, and customize it. Don't just use a boilerplate letter. That's a waste of time. I think, you need to really be serious about customizing that cover letter. And as I said, think of it as an executive summary of your entire package. Your entire application package is going to consist of like your CV, of course, a full publication list, maybe your teaching philosophy, and your detailed research statement. This is quite a big package of information that you're giving people there. And so the cover letter is really your opportunity to summarize it up and to point to your application as a really important one to consider in their process. Well, and with that, thanks for watching. See you in the next video. If you have any other comments on the matter of the cover letter for a faculty position, let me know in the comments.